Hiya. It is 8:30 in the evening on Thursday, the 11th of June, 2026. I didn't think I'd be doing another one of these, but life comes at you. So, I don't know what I last did about any of this. I was incredibly patchy with my diaries the first time around. I think hopefully this won't have to be a comprehensive series, but, we'll see. I have bowel cancer. Basically what happened was I went through all of my lymphoma treatment, bits and pieces of which, I never filmed the treatment, but I filmed videos in between. I'm now storming through week 1 of cycle 2. I've had a lot of steroids. I've had a lot of fluids. I have inflated like a balloon, as you can see. I'm covered in little sticky ECG pads. So, the treatment was a success. I had 4 cycles of chemo. I didn't need any radio because I went into remission about halfway through the chemo, but I had to finish the 4 cycles anyway. Blah, 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 blah. That all happened last year. I finished chemo March of 2025, and then I had a few check-ins throughout the year, a couple of kind of recurrent scares, but nothing terrible, and it was all fine. A year on, so March, I guess, of this year, I went back in for a follow-up appointment that was literally just supposed to be a chat with the oncologist. And I said, they ran me through the symptom checklist, and I said, I've got a few symptoms, mostly around my midriff, but also I'm getting sweats at night, I've got rashes at my arms. At the time, environmentally, that kind of made sense, but I also said, I had this pain in my back and my hip. So she gave me an examination and then said, look, the thing is, on your PET scan, your lymph nodes are completely clear, but there is some metabolic uptake in your bowel. Just like one lit up spot. And she said that really can be anything. So, but because you've come back and you said you've got symptoms, to be safe, we will just give you another PET scan. I had spots on my previous PET scans, so she scheduled another one because of that, and that one showed that the spot in my gut had grown over the course of the PET scans since I had finished chemotherapy. I'm telling this terribly, but here we are. So, right, that was all a couple of months ago. They then gave me a colonoscopy to have a closer look at it. The colonoscopy showed that there was indeed a gnarly looking lump that, to me looks a bit like a condom filled with tin spaghetti, but a bit like a brain, like lots of lobes and bobbles and stuff, and just a bit angry looking. And they said, that's an adenoma, which means either it could be completely benign, but from the way it's developing, they don't think it is, from the way it was spreading out across the wall of my bowel. And just the look of it, they thought, it's what they called it was precancerous, which means, in my layman terms, it's either inevitably going to turn into cancer at some point, it might already be beginning to turn into cancer, or it already has turned into cancer. And we can't tell just by looking at it. They took pictures of it during the endoscopy and then scheduled me to have it removed. About 3 weeks ago, I went in for that. I had it surgically removed, endoscopically removed, all in one go. And it seemed, as far as I know, they got the whole thing out. The margins, so the outer bit of it, seemed fine. And then they sent it off for testing. And I was sort of hoping that I would get a result on that last week, but actually it didn't come through at all until today. And then this afternoon I got a call from the hospital saying, hi, we reviewed your histology of your adenoma at the MDT, the kind of group doctor meeting thing yesterday. We reviewed it yesterday. Can you come in tomorrow morning for a chat? So that's where we are now, as of today. So I have to go in tomorrow morning at 11:30, and I have literally no information about what the chat will entail, but as far as I know, I'm meeting a surgeon, I think. So I don't think they're going to say it's great news. I think basically there's a couple of possibilities. Either they're going to tell me it's all good news, and for whatever reason they want to tell me that very, very quickly, or they might be saying, look, it is fine, but given your history of cancer, we want to keep a very close eye on you over the coming months, so this is the plan we're going to put in place to monitor you. Or I think realistically, given the timing of it, I think what is likely, and this isn't pessimistic, I just think they're likely to say, right, it was a little angrier than we thought it was. There were more cancer cells in there than we necessarily thought there would be, or whatever. We just need to investigate a bit more to see, either investigate further to see if the cells may have spread, or just cut past that bit and then cut a piece of bowel out, just to be sure. I've no idea. I'm just speculating with a lot of Dr. GPT involved as well, but that's where we are. So I've decided to film this today because, well, I don't like last time. I don't know what I'll use these for, but I do watch the last ones. So from the first time around, it always annoys me that I didn't record more of it just for my own history, I guess. But here we are. This is it. I'm inconvenienced by the whole thing. But there we go. Okay, it is 5 a.m. on Friday, the 12th of June. So, the morning after I filmed those clips, I've been awake for about 2 hours. I woke up about 3, which means I've had about 3 hours sleep, but I'm just not sleeping. And I've now reached the point, so I had a very late lunch yesterday, as I think I explained, and then literally walking out of lunch got the news that I needed this appointment, so I didn't really eat for the rest of the day, and I've woken up quite hungry. So I have got out of bed. I watched an episode of Masters of the Air. That was good. But I've just given up on sleep for now. So, right, I've got up, made myself some hot squash and a cheese sandwich, and I'm going to sit here and probably just watch TV. And if I snooze, I snooze. If not, I just have to get through the morning. I'll have this appointment, and then I can sleep this afternoon if I need to. I'm not worried about today, because whatever it is, it's not going to be that bad. Even if it's the bad thing, it's not going to be that bad. It's going to be, you need a bit more surgery. It's not going to be, you need chemo. But I think tensions are high generally, and having been through quite severe cancer once, I think it's just in my head, like all of the alarm bells are going off. So even though I know it won't be as bad as last time, my brain's just telling me to worry about it. Or at least not worry about it, but just be nervous or anxious or whatever, apprehensive about it. So the bit when you know you're about to get news, it's a fairly universal human experience that the waiting is the worst bit. We all know that. Right, so I'm going to eat my sandwich, watch more telly, and then I guess check in later on. Hello. Right, a few hours have passed now. It's 8 a.m. I'm wearing a t-shirt. Claire is now awake and is having what can only be described as a panic bath. Reason for the check-in is I've had an appointment reminder through from the hospital telling me to come to the hospital in a few hours' time, except this time the appointment is labelled Lower GI Cancer Results Clinic. So, I feel the odds of this being good news slipping away. Not that I really did think it was going to be in the first place, but nothing changes. About 4 hours' time, hopefully we'll know what we're dealing with. I've just been sitting up playing video games for the last 3 hours. I'm probably actually going to try and have a snooze for a couple of hours now, and then we'll leave at about 10. All right. Oh, hi. I'm back again, and not wearing a shirt. It is 4:45 now. Right, so it's been a day. I spent the last couple of hours at a Sofitel near Trafalgar Square. I literally just walked through the door as the gas inspector, who I knew was coming today but completely forgot was coming today, was coming through the door with a key that he got from our super because I wasn't here to let him in, and he was not happy. But he did the inspection, it was quick, and he's off on his way. He did say like between 3:30 and 4:30, and I let him in at 4:30 anyway. Right. None of that's the point. The appointment happened. It was stage 1 bowel cancer. There was more cancer in the tumour than they were expecting to see. They thought it was, stage 1 is still early, but they thought it was going to be like pre-cancer where it's just turning, so you find a few cells proving that in due course it was turning into cancer. However, it very much had already turned into cancer and was beginning its gradual spread And in addition to that, there are 2 risk factors that were flagged with it. So again, still early stage, but it was growing very rapidly, and you could see from the pattern of it, and there's a word for it which I cannot remember, but it's something like bubbling, something like that, bobbling maybe. It has like moderate to high bobbling, meaning that you can tell that it's growing aggressively. And also there was lymphovascular involvement. Basically there were veins in it that were plumbed into my bloodstream. So again, they think I'm almost definitely absolutely fine, but what they can't prove, having now removed the tumour, they can't prove that there are no cancer cells left behind. And if there are cancer cells left behind and it's aggressive, in all probability it will come back at some point. So the situation now isn't how do we treat the existing cancer, because they did treat that by removing the tumour. The situation now is how do we prevent future cancers from growing in the same place from the whatever remaining cells could still be there. So a few things will happen. I will have an MRI and a CT scan next week. Those will look to see if since the last PET scan I had in January, which is now nearly half a year ago, since then has anything appeared to spread into my lymph system. Again, completely unrelated to my lymphoma. Whole other separate thing. But they will check to see if there's any sort of enlargement there, any kind of visible signs that cells have already begun to spread. Essentially, if they get into my bloodstream, they get to my lymph nodes, and then if they get from there, the next place on the highway tends to be the liver, and then that's a whole other kettle of fish. Again, they don't think that's happened. Statistically, it's possible, but really unlikely, particularly at this stage. So we're not like worried about that. That's just a belt and braces. Let's just check it hasn't happened. Assuming that it hasn't happened, then I have 3 options. We can either wait and see what happens, so do nothing, and then I get monitored every 3 months, like colonoscopy, MRIs, the works, every 3 months for however long, and then just see if anything pops up. Option number 2, they give me radiotherapy, which is just blasting the area to try and take out the cells, or any cells that may be remaining, I should say. That has an 80% chance of being fully effective, at the potential expense of, I guess, my ability to reproduce. I don't know if I still have one after all the chemo, but that is a possibility. But the thing with radiotherapy and this sort of cancer is that typically it's used for slightly larger tumours that you can't remove all in one go. So if you've had to leave a bit behind, you can kind of, what they said, the term they used was you can just fry the rest of the tumour with radio, and then that will knock it, and hopefully about 80% of the time it will kill it dead. That then also comes with close monitoring, because there's a 1 in 5 chance that cells will sneak through. So what they are recommending, and even like the oncologists and the radiotherapy people, what they are all recommending is that I have a bowel resection, or I don't know how to say it, resection. Basically, they cut a chunk out of the bowel. It's an invasive surgery. I'll be on my ass for 6 weeks. They use a robot, which is cool, and it's done laparoscopically, but it will still be a bit of a faff. And that's got some risks to it as well, but all surgery does. I mean, the biggest thing for me is that when you have that done, because it's bowel surgery, you then have to shit in a bag on the outside of your body called a stoma, which is only hopefully temporary. But yeah, so that's just going to be literally a real arseache. But that's the trajectory that this is all on. So regardless of the result of the MRI next week, if we get the result we want from the MRI next week, I'm going to have this surgery. If we get a bad result from the MRI next week, I'm probably going to have the surgery plus chemotherapy, and I don't want more chemo. I won't have to have it. It's such a low likelihood that I would have to have that, but that's where we are. And yeah, I guess it kind of aligns with what we did think would happen today. So no like radical surprises. I think the only surprise really was like what they called the risk factors, like the progression of the disease to this point. Again, still only stage 1, but it's more official than I think we were kind of prepared for at this point. Everything else remains basically unchanged. Still going to be. And like, if I'm lucky enough to be offered a job, I don't have a notice period because I'm not currently working, so I'll just say, look, I need a couple of months for this surgery I'm having. That is my notice period. But right, that's sort of where we are, as always. I think Claire's the victim in all this, because if I am walking around with a bag of shit attached to me, she's got to live with me. That's going to be rough, and I'm not the easiest person in the world to look after, but that is a bridge we will cross when we come to it. Hello. You're right.
This is how I cope. So it's the next day now.
Oh, tired.
Yeah, me too. I think it's a stress response because we've just watched those videos and now I want to go to bed and you're yawning. And
yeah. So when I don't know what, my mantra. I don't know what I'll do with these. But assuming that we are watching these at the future, that means I've done something with them, which is likely to be cut them into a really rough video, which I may or may not put on our YouTube channel. I have no idea. But yeah, assuming you and I, are watching this in the future, / whoever else for whatever reason might be watching it, that means you've also just seen all of the little things that I've been filming over the last couple of days in this very spot.
Yeah.
At some point we'll have to mix it up and go somewhere interesting.
Oh, at some point we'll have furniture behind us.
Well, that's very far in the future.
That's true. Yeah, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
So, right, why are we doing this? Yes, it's Saturday, it's 12 on Saturday 13th, so day after the appointment with the surgeon, day after essentially officially being diagnosed with bowel cancer, I guess, because up until now it's just been the investigation and now they have given me the official diagnosis. So
yeah, I think we just wanted to just capture like how things are right now.
Well, and I've been talking about you like you're a mythological creature.
Here I am.
And now you're here, so that proves that you do exist and that I'm not also mental.
Not your own Fight Club situation.
And I think what we'll do shortly is go for a walk into town. We need to go to a big Boots and acquire some stuff. And
I think we're keeping ourselves busy.
And it's mostly that. I just feel like going for a walk. So, right, a couple of considerations in light of yesterday. So I am definitely going to have surgery fairly soon, in the next few weeks. So I want to be going to the gym as much as I possibly can between now and then, because I will be bedridden for about a month and a half or so after this surgery. So I want to do as much as I can now to build myself. Like,
certainly won't be able to go to the gym for about 2 months.
Yeah, absolutely not.
If not 3. Well anyway, yeah.
So I want to get as much done now in advance. Like last time when I got sick, like I thought I was probably going to have chemo for the lymphoma, so I started going to the gym all the time just to build my strength up, so that when they drained it back again, it wasn't too bad. That's what I'm going to do now, not today. But we did talk about going to the gym today. It just can't be fucked, and it's Saturday. It'll be busy. So. Yeah. Right. So all of that being said, I think we're going to go for a walk, and that then brings me to I would like to do a river walk. However, you're doing a river walk tomorrow. Yes,
hilariously. Tomorrow we are doing a sponsored walk for lymphoma.
I'm not. You are.
Me and Mrs. King, the other Mrs. King.
Mrs. King, the elder.
Yes, we've got that tomorrow. We're doing a bridge walk, 6 miles tomorrow for lymphoma. So that'll be good. And then obviously this time next year we'll do one for bowel cancer, because Ed's trying to collect the cancers. I'm not tired. I honestly think this is stress.
It will be, yeah. I'm not doing the walk because at the time that it was being booked, I know I was actually fit and healthy, but I just couldn't be asked. And so, no, that's right. I'm not doing the walk because I was already going to volunteer at the walk. So because it's a bridge walk, it comes over Tower Bridge, which is next to our flat. And last year
it finished underneath.
I think it finished underneath.
It did finish underneath Tower Bridge. The finish line was underneath.
They were giving out the medals there, so we walked past it. I was still quite poorly, and I wasn't I was recovering, but my heart wasn't good enough to do a sustained walk. And we just didn't know about it. So we walked past it, saw it, thought, should really have known about that and done something, and made a note to help out this year. Mm-hmm. That's everything. I've already covered off the fact I'm having scans next week and then surgery. And
also I've listened through to Ed's explanation of what's happening, and I approve the message, because normally you get it all a bit arse about face, and I have to come in and correct it. But no, you did it very well.
Thank you.
The surgeons were really nice yesterday. I think in the first instance they were just a bit like bish bash bosh. Yeah. But then we've been through all of this before, so I had a few more questions. Like
you had very specific and very.
My first question, for example.
I think possibly Claude informed.
No, Claire informed.
No, you didn't.
No.
Oh, because GPT told me what to ask.
No, GPT didn't tell me to ask those things. These are Claire informed, from what I know of last time.
Fine.
But yeah, my first question to them was, I'm sorry, are you an oncologist or a surgeon?
Oh yeah,
just didn't
he'd been
make
talking
it.
for like 20 minutes and hadn't explained what his job was.
And hadn't explained what his job was. So I didn't mean to like, and I know I wasn't rude, but I was like, are you the oncologist or the surgeon? And he's like, oh yeah, because I didn't know if he was diagnosing you and someone else would be operating or what was what. So anyway, and after that he asked, like, he was like, gave us quite a lot of detail and explanation because I think he realised that we're happy with detail.
Yeah.
At least I am happy with a lot more. I'm happy with detail rather than vague, like, oh, it could be this or it could be that. It's budding. This was the word you were looking for previously.
Yes, we do.
But yes, so just to clear that up.
Okay.
Bobbling isn't the word.
Oh, I don't know, I was tired.
Budding and lymphovascular risk factors. But yeah, so...
I didn't say that, I said lymphovascular.
Yeah, you did. Oh.
Ish.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's it. Is there anything else?
I think so, yeah. No, sorry, I don't think so.
I think so, yeah.
Also tired.
Okay, bye. Hi again. Right, so it is 2 p.m. on Tuesday the 16th, so a couple of days have now passed. I am getting ready to go to my CT scan. I think the last thing we did was a kind of thorough update on the situation. So this morning I had an interview at 8:30 for a new job at a hospice. So fingers crossed. It seemed to go well. They've got other people to see this week, so fingers crossed I'm the right person for them. But yeah, so now I have a CT scan booked for 3:15 this afternoon. So I've got to get there for 3. It's not at the usual UCLH site that I'm used to. It's a different one a bit further north of Bond Street. So I think it'll take about 45 minutes to get there. So 2 now. I'll leave in about 10 minutes. That should get me there at around 3, which is right for a 3:15 start. And it's on the Jubilee line, so hopefully should be okay. I should check that the line is running actually, but it should be more reliable at least than getting the bus. It's quite a warm day, is the only thing. It's quite like muggy, but the hospital will be very cold. So I don't know if what I'm wearing is fine, but anyway. So I don't know how long this will take. I think there might be contrast fluid, and if there is, I might have to wait for it to circulate, but it's not like a PET scan where you can't use your muscles, and I think part of the 1 hour resting period before a PET scan is to allow everything to just settle before you go in, so it might not be like that. Just in case it is, I've downloaded some Masters of the Air on my iPad, and I've got my Kindle, so I won't be bored. But right, that's it. I'm going to get ready. I need to drink 1 litre of water now before I leave, and then that's about it. The only other instruction was don't eat for 3 hours before the procedure, so I had a sandwich at 12, and yeah, that's it. Just lunch, really. Alright, morning. I'm off down the gym, which I try to do most days at the moment while I'm not working. Wind might make this a bit of an issue. But seeing as I know I'm about to have quite chunky surgery and I will be probably losing a bit of weight, just trying to get a bit stronger while I still can. Same thing I did last time when I knew I was about to, or thought I was about to start chemo. Start to go to the gym somewhat religiously, so that's what we're doing now. Yeah, so someone's been trying to call me for the last day or so, which might be my new clinical nurse specialist, but I don't know for sure if that's who it is. When I call the number back, it doesn't go through, so I called them back. I called the hospital yesterday and just let them know that I'm aware someone's trying to call me, but I have no signal in my flat, so fingers crossed they'll call me while I'm at the gym. Fingers doubly crossed they'll stop calling my mum when they can't get through to me, because that's well annoying. Okay, new day, different vest. Just got out of the shower. Claire's just got in the shower. It is just gone 5 on Friday, the 19th of June. So, weekend of Father's Day. It's 29 degrees today, really warm. Right, so just checking in with a new instalment because I have been called, well, once again, like my parents have been called because they couldn't get through to me, but then I got a text message from the hospital. So I've been told by the hospital. They are bringing my MRI forward from the 11th of July to this Sunday morning. Hence why I mentioned the fact that it's Father's Day weekend, because obviously we have plans to see our dad. So we were supposed to be going down to see Claire's dad, where he lives near Brighton, and then up to my parents after that for the afternoon. Those plans obviously now have to change. We are actually going down to Kent tomorrow anyway to see my aunt and uncle. So the plan was we'd stop in at Rochester, see my parents for a bit to pick up a car, then drive out to my aunt and uncle's place. We will still do that. We'll just go down a bit early now to spend some time with my dad in lieu of Sunday. We did think we could go from East Sussex to Ebbsfleet, drop the car there on Sunday morning, get the train up to St Pancras, go to the appointment, back on the train, down to Ebbsfleet, down to Rochester for Father's Day in the evening, and then get the train right the way home that evening. But the Sunday service is already going to be bad. We're going to be tired. That's going from East Sussex to Kent to London to Kent to London. It's just a stupid thing. That's a stupid day. So yeah, we'll do something with Dad tomorrow instead, which is a shame. We'll miss the family thing, but I have got to say I'm very relieved to have the MRI brought forward, because I didn't love the fact it was going to take 3 weeks. Not because I'm particularly anxious to get results, but more because they can't book the surgery until after the MRI, and like I am actively trying still to get into work. I've got a second round interview on Monday. I would like this to motor along and just get sorted ASAP. The whole process ends to end. Like, I don't think I'll actually be in a position to work with booking the surgery, having it, recovering from it. I don't think I'll be in a position to start work for another couple of months as of now. So if they push the MRI back a few weeks, that pushes all of it back a few weeks. So yeah, that's where we're at. So MRI on Sunday. I think we'll get results within the 10-day window, 2-week window after that, and that will then lead to them booking the surgery. We then, as I think I've mentioned before, once we've got the results of the scans and the biopsy that they'll do on my lymph nodes during the resection surgery, that will then tell them whether I'm at stage 1 or stage 3. And depending on the result there, if it's stage 3, obviously, I may need some more chemo, but we're hoping that's not the case. Really, really, really hoping that's not the case. So I think that's it for now. Can't think of anything else cancer related. Yeah, that's the update. It's MRI day. I'm not supposed to have my phone out. I'm just waiting to go in. They're having a nice chat in there. Doesn't seem like they're actually seeing anybody yet. Oh well. See you in a bit. Oh, hi.
Hello.
10:25, Tuesday the 23rd of June. Once again, heading down to the gym. So I've now had a CT and an MRI. MRI was on Sunday. All went very smoothly. It was early in the morning. We drove up. I think I said what we were going to do in advance. We drove up from East Sussex to Kent, dropped the car back, got the train into town. Bish bash bosh. All done by about 11 a.m. I have a phone call in with the consultant this coming Sunday, basically an exact week after the MRI. So I figure that's when they're planning to give me the results and the next steps, probably. The MDT is going to meet probably on Thursday morning. So yeah, I might hear before then, but since there's an appointment in, they'll call me up anyway. So then yesterday I went up to North London for a second round interview. It was kind of a vibe check, in-person chat with the team that I'm interviewing to be a part of. Obviously, there's quite a lot on mind, but it went well, and they offered me the job a couple of hours later. Very happy about that. I think obviously cancer being chaotic and everything, the thing that I'm now navigating is I've got the surgery booked, and then the non-zero possibility I'm going to need more chemotherapy. If that does happen, they know about the surgery and are like happy to push the start date to accommodate that, so that's awesome. If I do have to start on chemo, that's likely to be another few months. I've probably ranted about this before, but I think that's just a bridge we'll have to cross when it comes to it. As much as I'm preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. By the way, it's a heat wave in the UK, which is why I'm all in a mess, but it seems to be working. Yeah, we just have to proceed on the assumption that everything's going to be fine. Right, it is the hottest day of the year so far. Look at me, fucking hell. I've literally just been outside to get the shopping in, and I'm sweating. But anyway, it's also London Climate Week, appropriately enough. So Claire is out most evenings this week and is staying over in Cambridge on Friday, so I have just done my typical kind of Kevin McAllister-esque TED shop. I made a really nice tikka masala-ish sort of adjacent sauce the other night, and there's a lot of it left, so I thought I'd probably have a curry while it's still warm. Night tea, so I've, just run out. Bread and tin foil, because we've also run out of them. Ice creams, obviously. Chicken for said tikka masala. And some salady bits for lunch, including some dill, because dill goes in everything and tastes amazing. So I'm going to get most of this into the fridge and or freezer. And then I think I'm going to pour myself a drink and go and sit on the balcony in the searing heat and give the latest cancer-y update, which isn't particularly big, but there's been some progress. So I'll be back in a minute. Probably just as sweaty, if not more so. Right, it is super duper hot, but rather than do another one of these things sitting on my sofa, I thought I'd come out on the balcony. The temperature, 39 degrees, or at least real feel. The drink, Cordino, which is very popular in the teetotal community, because it tastes just like Aperol Spritz, which is really, really welcome on days like today. Yeah, so the last thing I think I updated on, hang on, I'll just move my fan around, was the fact that I was offered a job the other day, so that's great. It's working in a palliative care facility for cancer patients who are not quite as fortunate as I've been. So that's awesome. That's a 12 to 14 month contract, and today I was negotiating salary. I don't really want to gouge them because of what they do, but at the same time I've got bills to pay. But we've reached an agreement, so that's great. And then the next thing will be start date. That will still be dependent on when my surgery takes place. So on that, I mean, no news yet. I had the scans last week. I'll probably hear, I imagine, after this week's MDT, which I think is on Thursday. But what I have had put in is another probe. I'm having another endoscopy next Tuesday. That's the 30th. So, as far as I know, that one is just to sort of mark out, God look, my face is sweating, mark out, possibly by tattoo, I don't know, where the resection is going to be taking place. So hopefully, I don't know, hopefully not too uncomfortable. I've no idea what to expect really. But just means I'll be back on bowel prep for the third time. It's another minor procedure, but it is a step in the right direction. Yeah, so the hospice will... I've basically said to them I'll start whenever they want, but they know this surgery is happening and that I'll need some recovery time, so whether I take some unpaid leave for that, like if they start me now and then I take some unpaid leave, because I can't imagine they'll want to bring me on and then pay me sick leave to just disappear for 6 weeks, so either that or I'll start once I've recovered from surgery, whatever suits them best. I mean, I guess for me it would be great to start sooner and get paid sooner, but I'm not going to split hairs. I wasn't expecting that to begin with, so... Right. It genuinely is too hot to be out here, so I am going to go back indoors. Okay, it's about 10 on Friday the 26th. Back out of the house. I just got to the door and realised I left my studies upstairs. So I had to run back and get them. And I'm now convinced I'm living in some kind of sliding doors reality, where something either amazing or terrible will happen to me today, depending on where I am. that would not have happened had I remembered my sunnies in the first place, or just kept on walking. Minor update, only minor. I had an appointment go in yesterday for the 9th of July. The appointment title originally said General Surgery Lower GI, so it's in 2 weeks' time. I assumed that was going to be my surgery, and I immediately told my entire family that I'd got a surgery date. And then, as they often do on the MyCare app, they then updated the title of it afterwards, like 10-15 minutes later, to say face-to-face follow-up. So that actually is just my next chat with a consultant, after which they will then formally approve and book the surgery. So at some point I've got to row back on that with my whole family, because they were all expecting me to get cut open in 2 weeks. Don't film while crossing the road, you know. So yeah, I still don't have any test results back from last week, but I figure they'll just tell me probably in that meeting, and then if it's in 2 weeks, it's probably not terrible news. I know I say that a lot, but I figure if they'd seen something scary, then they'd want me in a lot sooner than that. I have missed a call this morning from the hospital, from the general number, but that is, I mean, I don't know, but I think it's probably just confirming that I'm free for that meeting. But we'll see. I remain quietly confident. Like I said, I think if it was showing signs of being like too aggressive and progressed, then they would want to whiz me in. So yeah, one thing at a time. It's also still very much a heat wave. 20 past 10 and already 30 degrees, which, if you know London, is unbearable. But again, like every day, we're off down the gym. It will be air conditioned, and Claire's away tonight. She's staying over at work, so I will be by myself, heading to the supermarket at some point. Okay, so back from the gym. So, right, the last thing that I said was I might go to the shops this afternoon. It's now 2 p.m, same day. I've had lunch. I think before I start getting really sleepy and wanting to have a lie down because it's so hot, and I've eaten and I had a heavy workout, not because I'm lazy, but before all that happens, probably should scurry to the gym and then to the shop, and then I don't have to worry about it. It's usually about a 40-ish, 45-minute round trip, because where we live is just south of the river in London, and then I have to cross a bridge, walk to it. It takes about 15-ish minutes to walk to it, about 10 minutes to shop, about 15 minutes back, give or take. Yeah, so it's about 35 degrees. It's not going to get any colder. I've put some sweat towels, like gym towels, in the freezer, wet them, put them in the freezer, so that when I do get back, I can just paste them over myself. And I've decided I'm having salmon tonight. I thought about so Claire's away, and usually when Claire's away, I will have some kind of takeaway. Frankly, just probably drink quite a lot. Like, I'll have a few beers or like a bottle of wine and maybe a couple of scotches or something. So, well, it's Friday, martinis. But I don't know if I've mentioned it thus far in this process, but I've been sober now for 26 days. I've just quit drinking altogether. The nub of it, all you really need to know, I guess, is that I've had cancer twice. This one is now a GI cancer. I mean, why would I continue mainlining a class 1 carcinogen every Friday? And I've got to say, much as I hate it, it's like when I started exercising for the first time. I feel great, like not cancer-wise, but just, yeah, not having any alcohol at all in my system is brilliant. So I kind of think even after all of this, it's probably something I'm going to keep up. Anyway, right, that's an aside. So all of which to say, I will be buying some non-alcoholic beverages to have tonight, including my favourite Mother Root and maybe some non-alcoholic beers or whatnot, because it's Friday and the ritual persists even if Claire's not here. This is going to be rough. I think I will try, if I can. I'm already a bit pink. If I can remember to, I will try and like update as soon as I'm home to do a before and after. In fact, I'm sitting in this chair. I'm going to do one of these bad boys. 3, 2, 1. Oh my God. Oh, that was rough. All right, good morning. I have a red eye. I keep waking up with a red eye. I can't blame that on cancer. I don't know what that's about. Right, it is 25 past 7 on Monday, the 29th. And that means it is bowel prep day. So I have my next sigmoidoscopy tomorrow morning at 9 a.m, which means that as of 8 a.m. today, I'm not allowed to eat anything at all until after that procedure. So it'll be if history's anything to go by, about 36 hours before I can eat again. So, that being said, I have to eat now, as much as I reasonably can to see me through the rest of the day. However, from 2 p.m. this afternoon, I will be on bowel prep, which is basically a laxative, like an oral enema. So I'm not going to obviously film myself through the effects of that. I'm tired. Right. For the last 2 days, basically 3 days before your colonoscopy, you are not allowed to... Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to explain all of that after I've made and eaten my breakfast. Let's prioritise eating first, and then I'll talk through what I ate and why. Because I'm starting to run out of time to actually cook breakfast and then eat it. So having done this a few times, I think I'm starting to get the hang of it a little bit. This is a 6-egg omelette and a cheese sandwich. Again, I'll explain why in a minute. But this should be enough to see me through, at least for today. And we're back. Right, so a couple of hours have now passed. I've had my breakfast. I've watched TV for a bit. I've got up and changed. And I was going to explain why I was doing what I was doing. So having a colonoscopy, basically they will take a camera and have a look around your colon, which when you have colon cancer is sort of self-explanatory. What they ask you to do 3 days before the procedure is go onto a low fiber diet. So that means, as it sounds, you can't eat anything high fiber for 3 days, or really any kind of fiber, I don't think. So that's no fruits or vegetables, no nuts, pulses, grains, no whole grain carbs, anything like that. So you can have white carbs, you can have like white rice, pasta, white bread. That's all fine. You can have dairy products, so cheese and butter, eggs are fine. Opinion seems to be divided between like the hospital and the internet on whether or not you can have red meat, but you can definitely have chicken and fish, seafood, that kind of stuff. And basically, the rationale for this is that when they look around you with the camera during the procedure, you need to be as empty as possible. And fiber takes a longer time to digest than those other food groups do. And then sort of the same, I guess that's the theory of the red meat thing as well. Anything that's like going to be very fatty and hang around for too long and not break down quick enough is just safest not to eat. So that's what I've been doing. It's now Monday. I've been eating low fiber since Saturday. What then happens the day before your colonoscopy, and this won't be the case in all cases, but this is how mine have been, they then give you bowel cleanse. So from 8 a.m. the day before, and again, this isn't well explained, but this might just be if you have your procedure in the morning. I don't know how the timings work if you have one in the afternoon, but I'm always seen at like 9 a.m. So from 8 a.m. the day before, essentially 24 hours before your appointment, you're on nil by mouth, which means you can't eat anything at all. You can drink clear fluids. You can have tea and coffee without milk. Milk has fat in it, so you can't drink that, but you can have Diet Coke and water and basically anything you want, as long as there's no fat or fiber in it and you can see through it. So that's what I'm planning to live on today. At 2 p.m. today, based on my previous experiences, I will then start taking what here in London, I guess, or at UCL specifically, is called Plenview. It's a bowel prep solution where you drink it, you mix it up like you would Dioralyte or some sort of rehydration salt. It dissolves in about 500 milliliters of water. You then drink that, and the solution itself binds to all of the water that's in your digestive tract. And as it binds to it, it makes it impossible for your body to extract that water through the wall of your bowel. So it basically flushes you right the way through. And since from top to bottom, you're kind of like a pneumatic tube, you're constantly pulling stuff through you, you will just pull all of this fluid and like solution right the way through. So you drink the sort of 500 or so milliliters of it, you drink another 500 milliliters of water with that. So there's about a litre of water in you, and that just pulls right the way from top to bottom and flushes you out. So that happens in the afternoon. That means you have to go to the loo a lot for about an hour, hour and a half, depending, give or take. Then the next morning, a couple of hours before the procedure, you do the same thing again. They give you a separate sachet. It's a slightly different composition, but it does the same job. Now, in my case, because my appointment is at 9, I've learned from experience. They say wake up at 6 and take it. I actually wake up at 4 and take it because that gives me just a bit more time to wish it all through and just to be absolutely sure that it's done by the time I leave the house. Because the one thing you don't want is to have an active laxative working on you when you're trying to cross London on public transport for 45 minutes during rush hour. So that is what the plan has been so far. I have been dutifully following what I thought I was supposed to do, which is eating low fiber and then cutting myself off at 8 a.m. this morning. That's why I made that huge breakfast. I had 6 eggs, a cheese sandwich, a Solero, and a bag of Monster Munch. It was a fantastic breakfast, and it was supposed to see me through the next 24 hours. I've just been and checked the post, and they haven't sent me a laxative. They've sent me an up-the-butt enema. That's the doobery. I've not done one of these before, so that's going to be fun. I will not film it for very obvious reasons. But the instructions are totally different. It doesn't say anywhere in the instructions that I have to be on a low-fiber diet and that I have to starve myself today. It just says don't eat before you, don't eat for 2 hours before you take it and don't eat after you take it, which means, as far as I can tell, I can eat today. I have to take this first thing tomorrow before I go for my appointment. It will be the same sort of thing. I'll wake up at about 4 or 5, do this, wait for it to have its full effect, and then I'll go to hospital. But I think it means I can eat. I might go out and just call the unit and just get them to confirm that. But that would be great. I'd love to not have to starve myself today. Other than that, no big plans today. Actually, that means that if I can eat, I can probably go to the gym. What time is it? It's 9:30. So actually, yeah, if I can figure this out in 45 minutes, I actually could go to the gym today. That's great, because I wasn't planning to, and that was stressing me out a bit. Right, get on with your life, Edward. Right, so that's confirmed. I do not have to fast today, so that's great. I will have to fast first thing tomorrow, but that was always the plan anyway, so that's fine. What this does mean is that I can go to the gym, so I'm getting ready now. Unfortunately, I wasn't expecting to go to the gym for the next couple of days, so I have not done my gym laundry, so my usual stuff is not clean, which means I will have to go with the B team, but that's a minor inconvenience. This will be fine, and it means I've got more to do today, which is lovely. Well, that was underwhelming. You're told to empty the bottle, which I did, nearly, minus a bit of backdraft, because it's a squeezy bottle, so obviously when you let go of it, it fills up a tiny bit again. Probably could have found a way around that. Anyway, then they ask you to try and hold it all for 10 minutes. I probably lasted 2.5 maximum. So I've no idea how effective that was, other than, it was immediately effective. But for the purposes of today, I don't know if it did what it was supposed to do. But I'm sure they'll tell me when I get there. But overall, I'd say I've got a tiny bit of discomfort in my tummy now. But other than that, fine. And definitely better than having to think about what I eat and starve myself and all that stuff that you have with the oral solution. So, 3 out of 5 stars for that experience. It is now 10 to 7. We need to be leaving the house. I say we, because Claire's going to come with me today. We need to be leaving at around 8 to get to the hospital confidently for 9. So, I can't eat now. That's a bugger. I'm getting quite hungry. Yeah, so I've got about an hour. Claire's still asleep, but I'll go wake her up in probably about 20 minutes and then have a cup of tea and go. Set up and ready to go. Just in a little waiting area now. Typically this can be like up to half an hour, but hopefully they'll whiz through it because it's very early.
So, Claire Cam. I look tired. I am sitting on Tottenham Court Road at the prep that I used to come to when Ed was having his, when Ed was having chemo and I'd go and get us breakfast, snacks and things. He is here today, we thought he was here today to have his tattoo site, the surgery site tattooed. Turns out there's been a bit of a mix-up and he's having his pins removed. I think it's just a really good example of how the NHS is brilliant, but how the process through each of it can be different. So with lymphoma, the CNS got in touch immediately and she was on it with all of this stuff. And he doesn't have a CNS at the moment, and I do think that that's making a big difference because the appointments aren't being lined up properly. Oops, sorry, I nearly dropped my fork. The appointments aren't being lined up properly. The right hand is certainly not talking to the left, and we don't get a huge amount of details other than like things that are put in the diary. It was just started to rain, which is kind of unhelpful because obviously like today this was going to be a tattoo site, but it turns out that it's not. It's removing the metal clips, which is also quite unfortunate because Ed had an MRI the other week with metal clips in. So A, I wonder if that could have been dangerous, but B, it means that the MRI that's been done is effectively useless according to the consultant today. And then I have just been up to the colorectal people just to see if I could find out like A, sort of what next steps are, and to ensure that and to find out who the CNS is basically, because actually I'd rather we have the CNS and she can deal with all of this, and also to change his contact details because they do keep calling his mum and it's not fine that they do that. And I checked on the system and they said on that system they don't even have his mum's details, so I don't know sort of what system's not talking to another system, but yeah, I think the NHS works really well for this, and the care is absolutely exemplary. But on this occasion, we're having to do a little bit more digging and like not advocating for ourselves, but just a little more digging around sort of what's what and chasing down information than we did before. Because in an ideal world, he'd have a CNS who'd just be texting him and being like, right, these are things that need to happen, and she'd be on it. But I don't think he's got CNS in the MDTs at all. So there's no one saying he does need that site tattooed, but he needs the clips removed first, and then he needs an MRI. There's no one joining those dots. But I'm having some lunch now, breakfast, sorry. I was going to not, but I'm very hungry, and in case someone calls me, I figured I should probably eat. So yeah, sitting outside. It's raining a little bit, but I quite like that. Just waiting for Ed to come out now, and then I will pick him up.
Alright, time to get up. Nobody knows I'm high on fentanyl.
Oh, beans. I think they might do.
There are signs. PJs.
With how calm you're walking over the bridge, to be honest.
Yeah.
How uncrossed you currently are.
Very mellow.
I did a Claire camp.
Did a what?
I'll send it to you. It's for your diaries, should you want
Oh, a Claire camp. I thought you said a Claire camp.
No.
Teaching people how to be you.
No, I should do though. I shouldn't, that would be awful. Yes, I did a Claire camp.
Cool.
I can send that to you.
I'll put it all together and look at today's footage.